Уважаемые телезрители, турнир ММА серии 15 «Время новых героев» продолжит следующий поединок в средней весовой категории. В синий угол клетки приглашается боец из города Калининград. Встречайте, Александр Шингаренко!
You're watching MMA Series 15, Time of New Heroes. We're live from St. Petersburg, Russia, brought to you by the Football Sports Network and around the world on the Clash TV app. I'm Ian M16 Butlin and this is bout number 5. As we wait for the fighter to come out now, this is the second fight on our main card. And this is a middleweight contest. Alexander Shingarenko has a record of 7 wins and 5 defeats. We saw him lose on MMA Series 6, but to the very talented Ivan Bogdanov. That was a 1-minute TKO, but we've seen in previous fights wins by submission, and he tends to lose by TKO KO, so definitely favours the ground. We see this does happen with fighters, still will, sort of all-round fighters will have their specialist areas and areas they favour, and I think Alexander Shingarenko definitely favours the submission game on the ground. Again, as we've seen with previous fighters, coming back from a loss on MMA Series 6, he'll be wanting to prove himself. Really, as a fighter, you have that sort of ego. I think the ego does help a lot. And he'll be wanting to prove himself on this big stage again, trying to make amends for that first loss.
Приглашается его оппонент из города Самара. Встречайте, Гоtovtsev!
So his opponent making his way down to the cage for this middleweight contest. You can see there in front of you, Gotovtsev. Gotovtsev has a record of 2 wins and 3 defeats. Losses coming by decision, and the majority of his wins coming from TKO and KO. So, looking at what I've just said there from Shingarenko, his losses tend to come from TKO KO. So we've got a fight here where, on paper, if you were the coaches or if you're a betting man, you would be thinking Gotovtsev's going to try to keep this standing, trying to work heavy shots early on, trying to really show his dominance with some good heavy shots before Shingarenko manages to get the clinch and manages to get the takedowns. On paper, this is striker versus grappler, but as you've seen on previous MMA series, that doesn't always play out to how the fight goes, but I think we can have maybe a pretty good guess that Gotovtsev is going to try to come out with some heavy shots early on and get the respect and puts maybe a little bit of fear into Shingarenko.
Дамы и господа, представляем вам бойцов 5-го поединка сегодняшнего вечера. В синем углу клетки из города Калининград представляет клуб «Викинг Муай Тай». Ему 27 лет, в его активе 7 побед, 5 поражений. Встречайте, Александр Сhingarenko! А противостоять ему будет боец из красного угла клетки, из города Самара. Представляет команду «Ультиматум». Ему 29 лет, в его активе 2 победы, 3 поражения. Встречайте, Гоtovtsev! Рефери в клетке Евгений Ли.
Бойцы на середину. Помним про правила, слушаем мои команды, деремся честно. Пожали руки по углам.
You're watching MMA Series 15, Time of New Heroes. I'm in M16 Butlin and this is Shingarenko in the blue corner, Gotovtsev in the red. I discussed in the intro there, if I was a gambling man, this would be striker versus grappler. And again, if we go look into grappling and we're looking at striking and mixed martial arts, the majority of fights end up in a clinch, end up on the floor. So, especially against a shorter striker, having to get in against a taller grappler, it's hard not to get involved in that clinch. Let's see if Gotovtsev can land the strikes without getting into a clinch. And Shingarenko, I'd imagine, will be wanting to get this to the floor. Gotovtsev there with the red tape around the gloves. Shingarenko blue. Shingarenko already looking like he's shying away from the shots, but changes levels, gets the takedown, and this is what I'm talking about. Difficult for the striker to keep things on the feet when they're shorter and have to have the close distance. Side control now. Shingarenko. You see there the arm around the head. That's the big mistake that set up the Von Flue chokes that we've seen in the last two MMA series. As soon as someone passes your guard, the biggest unforced error is to keep hold of their head. The biggest unforced error in mixed martial arts or submission wrestling I teach my students. So here, side control from Shingarenko. The arm still around the head. Shingarenko seems to be working to try and push the arm off rather than threaten the submissions that he's being given by the arm being there, which I think is definitely what I would do. Put the shoulder into the jaw if they're on the back like this, or if they turn in towards you, start to work around for the armbar. Shingarenko there still looking to try to get the head out. He's moved around to north-south. You might start to see this armbar attempt here now. Instead, he pops the head out and into side control. Switches his base forwards. That means turning the hips to face forward just to stop the knee getting in, and then goes back to the side control with both knees in. A very jiu-jitsu style side control, this with the knees in. More than what we've seen earlier, which was more the wrestling kind of side controls, where the hips are down and switching forwards and backwards and forwards. So knees in, keeping his knees tight to him and really stopping the movement of those hips from his side control position. Not really any strikes landed so far. Nothing of any significance. Shingarenko, I imagine, is looking for opportunities to see what sort of submissions he's being given by Roman Gotovtsev. Again, brings the knee up, staying tight, stopping the knee and elbow of Gotovtsev getting together. Gotovtsev's game here from underneath will want to turn in towards Shingarenko and get his right knee and his right elbow together, try to create some space and get back to either the full guard or work to get back to his knees. But anything to stop this sort of chest-to-chest side control position here from Alexander Shingarenko. Again, he's grabbed round the head. It's a huge, huge mistake for anyone who knows the two submissions that he's given away. But there, knee to elbow, back into the full guard. And that is where Gotovtsev needs to be. What can he do now from this position? Will he aim to work back to the fence, try to stand up? Shingarenko looking to ground and pound from inside the guard. Watch for him to posture the head up and then fires the punches. Again, forces Gotovtsev to grab round the back of the head to control the head. 1 minute left in the first round. It's MMA Series-15, Time of New Heroes. You're watching Shingarenko in the blue, Gotovtsev red. Again, steps up to one knee, gets the head clear, and comes down with the strikes. Choosing to use the elbow there, but I think he was out of distance to use an elbow. He needed to work the punches from that position. He can work the elbow if he puts the head onto the fence, because it's a closer range there. Now he can start to work the elbow. Left elbow over the top. Punches to the body. Nice elbow there from the bottom as he holds the back of the neck and works the elbow in. Shingarenko needs to be careful and clear this head. He needs to not give away the head control to Gotovtsev. So again, we see that closed guard I was talking about earlier. It closes you into the position. Sometimes against the fence, it's better to open up your guard and get your hips onto your side. Start to try and use the fence to stand back up and defend. So first round there, we see the replay. Gotovtsev came out with some good strikes, but the level change and distance from Shingarenko, and he got the takedown, passed to side control fairly quickly, and he dominated from the top position from there on in. If we look at the stats, Gotovtsev threw more standing, the same amount landed. Ground control 100% to Shingarenko, and that is where the scoring will make the difference. For me, clear first round for Alexander Shingarenko. If you're watching at home on the Clash TV app, you can score these fights, clap for your favourite fighter, and ask any questions. For me, I'm sure that was one round up for Alexander Shingarenko. You're watching MMA Series 15, and this is round number 2. Shingarenko blue, Gotovtsev red. Gotovtsev again fires the strikes in, lets the distance close. It was difficult. He had, again, it makes it difficult. So a question from the Clash TV app, which fits just with what I was saying. How can a shorter striker even compete? Well, it's all to do with the footwork and the head movement. Moving in and out of distance. We saw a beautiful example of it last week, actually, with the working side to side, in and out. You've got to use a lot of footwork, and it takes a lot of fitness. You have to be, as it were, like a little energizer bunny, moving the lateral movement side to side with your head, but in and out movement with your footwork as well. This is a better position for Gotovtsev to be in. He's sat in the guard now. He's got the short, powerful arms. He can work the ground and pound with these punches. Watch how he won't use elbows because of the difference in height. He needs to work the strikes, working into the body, and then he'll switch up to the head as the arm comes down to protect the body. There you see there, the elbows just landing short. He's not got the height to use those elbows. He needs to try to focus on the punches. As we look at the scores, Shingarenko so far ahead on the Clash TV app, so far ahead on the official stats, and definitely a long way ahead on my card. But as we see a stall in the action, Gotovtsev is now in a position where he can land strikes from inside the guard of Shingarenko. Now he needs to be careful, Shingarenko. We've seen his record, we've seen he's got the submissions. Is he going to try to control the head and work the legs up? At the moment, he looks to be fairly gun-shy of these punches. He's worrying more about the punches. And that cut to the left-hand side of his eye is not going to help that. Trying to work the legs up, though. That's nice. This is what he needs to do from this position. As Gotovtsev grinds forward, throws punches, tries to put that head onto the fence. Now Gotovtsev can start to work elbows. The range is different once you get the head onto the fence. Close up that distance. Shingarenko's going to try to push off the fence with his feet. Maybe turn away. He doesn't want his head on the fence. He's already cut open. Elbows only do that more. Because he's on his back, even though the cut's above the eye. There we see the armbar. This is what I said about the submissions. Got to watch out for those submissions. Well defended there from Gotovtsev, who shows some good strength and stacked up to make that armbar difficult to extend there for Shingarenko. Gotovtsev again trying to get the head round to the fence, just trying to move Shingarenko around. It's much harder to work the guard work as well when the guy on top has put your head on the fence, because it closes you up. You can't work your legs up unless you're very, very flexible. So good work from Shingarenko as he moves his head away from the fence. And again, bleeding there from above the left eye. Once they get standing, that's going to start coming down into the eye, which could cause some real problems. So coming up to the last minute of round number 2. You're watching MMA Series 15, Time of New Heroes. We're live from St. Petersburg on the Fubo Sports Network and around the world on the Clash TV app. This is Alexander Shingarenko underneath with the blue tape on his gloves. Roman Gotovtsev on top in the red. Shingarenko controlling the head. That was an elbow over the top again, a little bit short. But I think there was an impact there on top of the eye, and you see more blood there from that same side. I think the punches are definitely a better weapon, as you see 2 there from Gotovtsev go through. Nothing at all in the punches from Shingarenko coming back from the bottom. Nice work, Gotovtsev putting the arm underneath the body, and watch for him to come over with a left hook once that arm is away from the head. There he goes, left hook. So he's now grabbed the arm with his right arm, I believe. As he managed to get it free, got it free. That was good work though. Gotovtsev looking to work the arm under the body. He swapped the hands to control it with the other hand. Makes the ground and pound so difficult to defend. And that was a much better round for Roman Gotovtsev, who is now, on my card, definitely even things up. For those at home on the Clash TV app, I'd like to see your scores, your opinions as we watch the replay. Nice turnover there from Shingarenko. But Gotovtsev ground and pounding his way through that round. So ground control. Let's have a look at these stats. So the majority of control here, or the strikes there from Gotovtsev now. Elbows and punches. Some of those elbows were just impacting, but they've impacted enough to do some real damage there to the top of the left eye. And that's some very negative body language there from Shingarenko. If I was Gotovtsev, I was going to say that would give me loads of confidence, but actually Shingarenko's negative body language has showed he's quit between rounds, and that is a win. So it'll go down as a technical knockout, or a technical knockout win from between rounds for Roman Gotovtsev. And you could see there that from the body language, Shingarenko had the life knocked out of him.
Дамы и господа, в этом противостоянии в связи с отказом соперника победу поддержал боец из красного угла Роман Gotovtsev.
So winner by TKO corner stoppage from Roman Gotovtsev. Who now moves to 3 wins and 3 defeats as a professional. So we watch the replay of this middleweight contest. It was Roman Gotovtsev, the striker, coming forwards. It was the grappler Alexander Shingarenko trying to keep things on the ground and under control. Heavy strikes were coming forward, and the damage Roman Gotovtsev was doing, chopping up the eye, especially above the left eye of Shingarenko, and taking him out of his game completely. Could not work the submissions as he was being ground and pounded.